Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for being here. Today is day 2 of my 45-day challenge, running and cycling. Day 2, I was supposed to cycle 44 kilometers, and this has been by far the hardest day because it fell on a Sabbath. It's a long distance, and also it fell on a high Sabbath. It was World Pathfinder Day. I teach the Explorer class, the 12-year-olds in Pathfinder Club, and they were in charge of the Sabbath school, and Sabbath school starts so early. So I had to wake up. Remember the previous day, and week there were preparations, and I was beginning to get worn out. So we go to church, we get there by 7:30. It's a whole day's affair. And for me, Sabbath is sunset to sunset. So I had to wait until 6:29. Sabbath ended at 6. Sunset was at 6:29 for me to begin my activity. But then I also didn't begin my activity immediately until an hour later at around 7:30. I started with the first kilometers. The thing that I feared for this cycling was the pain on my butt cheek. Usually when I cycle a long distance after not cycling for some time, I get that pain. I had padded biker shorts, and by kilometer 12, I had started feeling the pain in my butt cheeks. But then with time, as I went on, it subsided. The pain started at kilometer 12, and then we went on. By the time we were reaching kilometer 25, now it was going down. Maybe it was getting numb, or my body had gotten used to it. In fact, as I was riding, I was telling myself, once I'm done with this riding, I'm going to sit on ice so that it helps with the pain. But I didn't have to, because after showering with cold water, and also after I had finished, the pain was not as much as it was at kilometer 12. And I also, by the time I was at kilometer number 34, now I was on fire. I knew the end is in sight, and I pushed. I finished at I think 11 something. Then went back home and ate. At that time I had not taken dinner, so my fastest pace was at kilometer 37 at 3 minutes and 53 seconds. So I realized that my speed increased after 34 kilometers. Now I was excited. I'm like, this thing is ending. I am finishing this thing. So I finished, went back home, and again I debated about showering with cold water or hot water. But then I remembered the benefits. I almost did hot water, but I remembered the benefits of cold water. And I got in and took a cold shower, and I felt better. I stretched thoroughly and took a cold shower. I'm realizing that in this challenge, what is really helping me is the cold showers and proper stretching. Another thing that I need to add is sleep. I have not slept well. Last week was a busy one. We were preparing, and then we were also preparing for World Pathfinder Day. My daughter's class, the Explorer, were taking part, and then I was also teaching beginner class. I have a 3-year-old. She's in beginner class, so I was teaching that class also on that Saturday. So by the time we were going in for the sermon, I was done. My prayer was just that God gives me the strength to do the 44 kilometers in the evening. And then I had this weird plan that I would finish the 44, then rest for a bit, and then start the ones for Sunday. But that was not possible because on Sunday I had to wake up early and go to church again because I'm in a mentorship program where we are needed in church by 6:30. So I went to bed at around 2, then woke up at 5. And so as I make this video, I am very tired. I'm going to take a nap and then do my Sunday run after that, which would be 43 kilometers. Yeah. So day 2, that was day 2. It was by far my toughest day because I went for this ride already worn out. It looked like I was defeated. But I told myself, I sat down and came up with this schedule. I cannot give up on day 2. And I know it will get better as the days go by. And today I'm also supposed to be talking about my second year of life, which I don't remember much about. At 2 years, you don't remember many things. What I can remember my dad telling me is that my IQ was high. I have a high IQ, and I think my daughters take that from me. And it was just normal childhood. There's nothing much I can say about my second year. I think things start getting exciting at maybe 3, 4, then 7 when I start school. Now they get even more exciting, and as I get into my adolescent years and then my young adult years, my teenage years, school, friendships, family, all that, it gets exciting as we go on. And I'm glad that I started with the heavier kilometers. At some point yesterday, I told myself, why couldn't I just be doing this from one day, 1 kilometer? So today I would have been doing 2 kilometers. That was the other part of my mind telling me this is too much. We had just started. You know, when you start and you hear your diva saying 1 kilometer and you're like, oh Lord, when will you reach 45? So my goal was 30 kilometers. Once I got to 30 kilometers, I knew the end is in sight. But when I got to 35, I knew, bus, we have done it. And also I was racing with time so that I don't get to midnight before I am done. But I'm glad I tried. And yeah, I need to rest. Thank you for being here. See you in the next one.